Hello, hello. It's Heather from Kestrel Studio and Art Residency, and I am back for day 6 of my live stream challenge, and so happy to be here with you. Thank you for joining, and also for providing feedback for me so that I can come up with interesting things to talk about on these lives. So today I want to talk about something that's quite relevant because it's in the art world news this week, and that is the banana. So you may have heard about the banana art. In 2019 at Art Basel, Miami, there was a piece of art by an artist named Maurizio Cattelan, and it was a normal big art festival like that happens every year there, but the sensation of that year was this piece of art called The Comedian, and you probably saw it because it made international non-art news, which was that he took a banana and he put it on the wall and he taped it to the wall with a piece of duct tape, and that was the art. And I remember where I was working at the time at the university, and we were all sort of amused by the whole story and sort of astonished that it could be art. And then of course that led to really good conversations about what is art. And anyway, I feel like it's an unforgettable moment in the world of art. And before I talk about this week, what's also funny is that right around that time, like a month earlier, I had actually made art about a banana myself. I actually painted bananas in still life, and I will put that picture of that in my stories after this, but I think that's really funny that that happened the same year. And also, funny enough, in my family, my father-in-law is also an artist, and he actually had painted bananas in his art life at some point, and it was sort of this running joke in their family. And so then when I showed my banana painting to them, they were all like, "Oh my gosh, we have a second banana painting in the family." So we all had a good chuckle about that on our family text thread. Okay, fast forward to this week. In New York City, The Comedian was once again in the news because it sold at auction, and it sold for $5.2 million, just 5 days ago at Sotheby's in the auction. It's so interesting to watch the video because there's a lot of smiling in the video, like the audience who were in the auction room, they're smiling. The auctioneer actually makes a joke, actually a couple of jokes about it, and almost it's just impossible to not balk at the fact that a real life banana that's taped to the wall could sell at an art auction for over $5 million. And it's hard not to balk at that, right? When there's so many other things that money like that could go to, or when you yourself could make your own comedian in your own home. You could take a piece of duct tape and put the banana on your wall, right? But I just love how that banana experience and then it being auctioned off just causes us to have to discuss what is art. But instead of talking about that with you today, I actually want to talk more about the price of art, because that's something that's more relevant to us. The story really gets me thinking about the monetary value of art, and I've thought about this a lot over the years, and why it's so darn hard to price our works of art, right? If we're trying to be working artists, how do we price our stuff? So there's so many different ways to do it, and I'm not going to give you an answer today. I'm sorry, because it's still something that even I'm not sure about what to do, but I think it's worth talking about. And so I did a little research first just to set the standard for cost. So we know that a banana with duct tape can in fact sell for over $5 million. According to Wikipedia, the most that's ever been paid for a painting was in 2017, a painting by Leonardo da Vinci for $450 million. The most money that's ever been paid for art by a currently living artist It was $110 million for one of Jasper Johns' flag paintings. I was like, oh, Jasper Johns is still alive. How about that? But he is definitely in the famous artist canon, especially the famous male artist canon. So I guess that doesn't seem too surprising. I was more surprised by his still being alive than the cost of his artwork. Georgia O'Keeffe, Frida Kahlo, and Louise Bourgeois top the list of women artists who have sold the highest ticket items. So in 2014, the Crystal Bridges Art Museum in Arkansas purchased Georgia O'Keeffe's painting Jimson Weed / White Flower No. 1 for $44.4 million. So that just like sets the standard for, you know, what art can sell for. And over the course of my life as an artist, I have wondered two things regularly. One is, how much should I charge for my art? And two is, do I have to move to New York in order to make it as an artist? Right? Whoever knew that a banana could take Maurizio Cattelan to Sotheby's? I mean, I'm not sure he ever anticipated that. I don't know. You never know what's going to resonate with people. So I think let's address the first question again. How should I price my artwork? Especially as a fiber artist, it's a really challenging question because people will pay more for sort of more classic art types like paintings and drawings, printmaking, and sculpture. Those are sort of the four like traditional classic art forms that people consider to have high value. And so when you're a fiber artist, if you make something out of yarn and turn it into cloth, then a lot of times people associate that with like home decoration, and so then the value of that art is sort of like categorized into where cloth is in our lives. So a throw pillow or a blanket or a dish towel or clothing. And so that's an interesting thing to then determine how much should I charge for my art. Now, another thing to think about is, what if I can put it on the wall? What if I can make it large? Then could it be priced higher? And the answer is probably yes. So my friend Jane, who is in the audience today, hi Jane, she I think has like a formula for how she prices her art. I think she does it by the square inch on her paintings. And Jane, you'll have to put a comment make a comment to say like if you have an idea or advice for what to do about how to price your own art. But this is a conversation that comes up all the time. And what I find is that generally we all undervalue our art. We all put a lower price tag on our art than maybe we want to do, or maybe we think we put a lower price tag on there than what we anticipate. What am I trying to say? We just put it lower than I think anybody would consider it in terms of value. But that also tends to sell it, which is really nice, right? Like that's a big part of why I make art, is I want to share it and I want people to buy it. I want people to have it. I don't want it to be sitting collecting dust in my studio. So how can I put a price on it that makes it so it's affordable or makes it so it's in somebody's price range? Also, where you live totally influences this. That's why question number 2, do I need to move to New York in order to make it as an artist, has been plaguing me for my life as an artist. So I think, what an interesting question. So when you're in Fort Collins, Colorado, what do you charge for your work versus if you're in New York City? What do you charge? And of course, cost of living, it plays is a factor in that. But also, like in New York City, there's an art collection group. There's an art auction house. Like there are people who come here for art, like me. So like it's a different crowd here. But does that mean that we can't make it in Fort Collins as artists? Absolutely not. Like if you are, like I think anywhere compared to New York City is really just Podunkville. I mean, now that I've been here for a little while this month, I feel like, wow, it's really, like Fort Collins we're so tiny, even though we're like 150,000 people there. But anyway, so here I am in small town Colorado, and I really do think that even if you're not in New York City, you can make it, because the people who are in New York City who are selling their art, I would say, are really like the 1%. And I'm so happy for them. I'm so glad that people can figure out a way to sell art and to have people collect their work. That's so great. But it's really the 1%. In art school, I remember feeling like, oh, I could be in that group. I could be in that small percentage of artists who could make it and who could sell their work and become famous, maybe have their stuff in a gallery, or more specifically a museum, right? Where it would be that valuable that a museum would want your work. And I'm not saying that won't happen, because you just never know. I mean, a banana sold for over $5 million this week. So remember, you never know. We can't tell the future. But on the other hand, it is probably less likely that I am going to sell a piece for so many thousands of dollars in Fort Collins. That doesn't mean, though, that I'm not making it as an artist. And in Fort Collins, there is an art scene. In northern Colorado, there's an art scene. And in many other small towns in our country, there is an art scene, and there are people who appreciate art and who love art. And then that begs the question too, why are we making art? It's not just so that we can sell it. I mean, that's a motivator for sure, but it's because we feel called to make it. It's because we need to make it. It's because for our mental health, we need to make it, right? Like for our own personal expression. So I would be so curious to talk to Maurizio Cattelan about the meaning for him about the banana on the wall. Like, I would love to hear why that was something that delighted him, why he felt called to make it. What was the story in the making of it? I don't plan to move to New York City to make it as an artist, and instead I plan to have my art residency in Fort Collins, and where I'm going to continue with my own daily art practice, and where I'm going to make space for artists of any ilk to come and work on their art practice. And maybe you'll end up making that piece that will break you into the art world, and that will make it so that you are getting paid millions for your work. But also, maybe you'll make art that satisfies a wider audience, and maybe you'll sell it for something that will at least buy your next lot of art supplies. And that is 100% important and okay, and thank God for you and you making your art. Like, that's still really important, even if it doesn't sell for $5 million. So the funny little last thing about the banana duct taped to the wall is that it comes with instructions for how to replace the banana for after it rots. So I happen to have a banana here, and I just thought I would eat it to say goodbye. Because it's a perfectly good waste of a banana if you tape it to the wall. But who knows, maybe this video will become art. All right, tomorrow you're in for a treat. I've got my friend Ambra who's going to come and join us for our live, and I look forward to seeing you then, 10 o'clock Mountain Time. Thank you so much for being here, and have a wonderful day.